Imagine preparing for the biggest battle of your life. You gather 34,000 soldiers, 100 warships, elite commandos. You bomb the enemy for weeks. You're ready. You storm the beaches, weapons drawn, heart pounding. This is it. And then, nothing. No gunfire, no explosions, just fog and silence. Where is everyone? This is Operation Cottage, 1943. And what happened next became the most embarrassing military disaster in World War II. Let's get into it. June 1942, Japan invades Kiska Island in Alaska. It's a freezing volcanic rock in the middle of nowhere. Nobody wants it. But it's American territory, so America wants it back. For a year, Japan fortifies the island. Bunkers, anti-aircraft guns, 5,000 troops. In May 1943, the Allies invade nearby Attu Island. That battle is brutal. Out of 2,500 Japanese defenders, only 28 surrender. Everyone else fights to the death. Military planners look at Kiska and expect worse. They plan accordingly. 34,000 troops, 100 ships, elite commandos. For weeks, they bomb Kiska. 1,300 tons of bombs, hundreds of tons of naval shells. They're trying to delete the island from existence. And this is where things get weird. Late July. Reconnaissance pilots notice something weird. The anti-aircraft guns stopped firing. Japanese gunners usually shoot at everything. Now? Silence. Buildings that got bombed aren't being repaired. They just stay destroyed. Like the Japanese gave up on home maintenance. The harbour is empty. No ships, no activity, no nothing. On July 28th, all radio transmissions from Kiska stop. Complete silence. Intelligence analysts look at all this evidence and conclude, the Japanese are hiding. They've retreated into the mountains to prepare an ambush. Because obviously, the Japanese wouldn't just leave. They never retreat. They fight to the death. Everyone knows this. Nobody considers the possibility that maybe the Japanese looked at Kiska, looked at each other and said, you know what? This sucks. Let's go home. Here's what actually happened. July 28th. Heavy fog rolls in. A Japanese task force sneaks past the Allied blockade, loads up all 5,400 troops, and leaves in less than an hour. They leave behind confused dogs, booby traps, and buildings that look occupied from far away. Then they disappear. It's one of the most successful evacuations in history. Not a single casualty. Meanwhile, the Allies keep bombing the empty island for 2 more weeks. They're conducting the world's most expensive landscaping project. 34,000 troops hit the beaches expecting the fight of their lives. They get fog, thick Alaskan fog you can't see through, freezing cold, and an island full of absolutely nobody. The American 7th Division lands on the north side. The Canadians land on the south. The plan is to squeeze the Japanese between them like a military vice. Except there's nothing to squeeze. But nobody knows this yet. So they advance inland, weapons ready. Every shadow is an enemy. Every sound is an ambush waiting to happen. And then some genius fires a shot. A Canadian soldier sees movement in the fog. He shoots. American soldiers hear gunfire. We're under attack. They shoot back. Canadians hear bullets flying. They're shooting at us. They return fire. For hours, Americans and Canadians fight each other thinking they're fighting the Japanese. It's like the world's deadliest game of tag in the worst fog machine ever. 28 Americans killed, 4 Canadians, 50 wounded, 0 Japanese casualties, because there are 0 Japanese. But wait, it gets dumber. The 1st Special Service Force, elite commandos, finds an abandoned Japanese camp. It's full of weapons and ammo. They decide to have some fun and start shooting into the valley for target practice. American and Canadian troops in that valley hear gunfire. "Oh no, the Japanese are in the hills," they shoot back. More friendly fire, more casualties. The elite commandos just accidentally started a battle. This goes on for 2 days before commanders start asking questions like, "Hey, where are all the Japanese bodies? And why hasn't anyone actually seen the enemy?" Slowly, patrol by patrol, the truth emerges. The bunkers are empty, the barracks are abandoned, there are supplies left behind, and a bunch of very confused dogs who are just happy to see people again. The Japanese are gone. 34,000 soldiers invaded an empty island. They brought 100 ships to fight nobody. They bombed dirt for 2 weeks, and they're still taking casualties. The Japanese left booby traps everywhere, grenades rigged to doors, mines along paths, timed explosives. Soldiers keep dying to traps set by ghosts. It's like getting killed by a voicemail. On August 18th, the destroyer USS Abner Read hits a floating mine. The explosion rips off the stern. 71 sailors dead, 47 wounded. People keep getting lost in the fog. Some wander into other units and get shot. Some fall off cliffs. Some die from exposure. By August 24th, the operation ends. 313 Allied casualties. 32 killed by friendly fire. 71 killed by a mine. Dozens more from booby traps. All on an island with 0 enemy defenders. Kiska killed more Americans than some actual battles. The military tries to spin this as a victory. "Mission accomplished. We took the island with minimal resistance." Yeah, because nobody was there. Some commanders call it a super dress rehearsal for future operations. Like, "Hey guys, great practice accidentally shooting each other. Really good training for when we do this against an actual enemy." Newspapers report a great victory. The public has no idea their troops spent a week playing the world's deadliest game of hide-and-seek with themselves. The Japanese, they're thrilled. They evacuated perfectly. 0 losses. And they got to watch America waste a massive amount of resources invading an empty rock. It's the military equivalent of watching someone prepare an elaborate prank and then accidentally pranking themselves. So what do we learn from Operation Cottage? First, if the enemy stops shooting, stops talking, and stops existing, maybe check if they're still there before invading. Second, fog is more dangerous than the Imperial Japanese Army. Third, sometimes the smartest military move is just leaving. The Japanese could have died gloriously like at Attu. Instead, they said, "This island is terrible," and went home. Nobody died. They lived to fight another day. That's called winning. And finally, your own side is often more dangerous than the enemy, especially in fog, especially when everyone's nervous and trigger happy. Operation Cottage wasn't a battle. It was a tragic comedy where the punchline was 300 dead soldiers. This was Operation Cottage. The time 34,000 Allied troops invaded an empty island, fought each other for a week, and lost more soldiers than some actual battles. All because nobody thought to check if the enemy had already left. It's the most expensive participation trophy in military history.